What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Vault. Finally, it's Friday, July 26th, and the Hatriot record is being released today. It's been all Hatriot all week long on Zetro's Toxic Vault, and to close it out with the commemoration of the album coming out today, we are talking to the final and newest member of Hatriot, Mr. Kevin Paterson. What's up, Kevin?
Not much. Just getting ready for this album to come out. Super excited. Really happy working with some of my best friends and getting to put out just a great album.
Well, you're a good addition to it. I was a bit leery first when they said they're going to get you in as far as playing, because I know what it takes to play in this band.
Oh, definitely.
The guitars to work is very intricate. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? It's not, playing three, chord rhythms on anything. This is definitely top-notch shit here.
Yeah.
Costa does not write nor play. I did not create this band for that to be in that way. But we're going to talk about that record. I want to talk about, give us a story on how you kind of met me and met Nick, and because you were growing up in Dublin as a metal fan, right?
Exactly. So I got into it at a really early age. I was shown like DRI and Slayer, the Misfits, just kind of like the really good base of bands for getting into the metal.
But easy enough to play, right?
Correct. And so then, like we talked about briefly earlier, I was friends with Drew. And
talk about Drew who? Tell everybody.
Drew Codwell. So I was friends with
Tell
Drew Codwell.
And who was he related to?
And he was Paul Bostaff's stepson at the time. And I remember I just used to go to his house every week, and he would just give me albums, and Paul would give him albums, and we would just, when the iPods first started coming out, we had our little iPod shuffle, and he would just load me up with music, and every week I would come over, I'd have a new kind of rotation of albums. And it was great to see, Slayer, and this is when he very first started. He had left Slayer and done Formation of Damnation with Testament.
Yes.
And just seeing that whole process and being there with him was great, and that's a really big thing for me that has always left a mark. And then I remember later on, kind of going through middle school into high school, I went to met Nick in high school. And
did you know that I was his father?
So I was told. I hadn't met you probably until about 6 months or a year after I knew Nick. And I remember me and Nick just used to talk about bands and metal and just
So when
everything.
you were talking about bands, did you know that I was his
I knew
dad?
that you were his dad. And then I remember every day at school, oh man, you have to meet my dad. You're going to love my dad. And then I think the final day of him being in high school was when I met you. And I actually remember this really vividly. I was just at his graduation wearing a Sodom shirt. And you just came up to me and you were like, Sodom, great band. And I was like, wow, that's Zetro from Exodus. And I had already been an Exodus fan. And then me and Nick kind of started hanging out more and more and became really good friends. And the first show that we all went to together was Mayhem Fest of 2012 with Slipknot, Slayer, Anthrax, Motorhead. Just one of the best lineups that pretty much...
Yeah, Mayhem. That was the best lineup
that was
around.
the best lineup, especially being at a young age.
Judas Priest, I think, was on that, right?
They were on a different year. They weren't on that year. But
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Not that one. That one, me and you, and Nick, we sat down in the seats.
We sat down
and watched Slipknot down there.
Because
right.
I had a grass ticket, and I remember you took my grass ticket away and gave me a pass, and you were like, "Oh, here, I got this from the guys in Slayer," and I was like, just 15-year-old me, just like, "Oh my God, this is the golden ticket. This is like the Willy Wonka's golden ticket."
Golden ticket.
Exactly. So for me, just going through that whole thing and getting to sit up front and meet all these people who have been such of my biggest influences was just amazing. And I will remember that day pretty much forever. That was really what made me sit down and say, wow, this is what makes me want to continue doing music and play in front of people and be in a band and experience the whole thing.
Now, you were playing kind of half-hearted. You weren't really serious about it. Right? You just kind of picked it up in your room, jamming it, and I'm sure you're playing along with the records and stuff like that.
Definitely. So, like, I started playing probably when I was like 6 or 7 because my dad has always played music, and I got my first guitar when I was 6, and the first record I ever bought when I was 8 was Ride the Lightning, and I sat down when I was between like 8 and 12 and just learned almost every song on that album.
My favorite, Metallica. My favorite.
By far.
Oh,
That's
come on.
that's
Open the album
one.
with Fight Fire with Fire. That song is so damn heavy.
Exactly.
I
So
know.
when I learned that is kind of when I
Ride the Lightning, Creeping Death. God, there's so much on that
Fade
record.
to Black.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Just that album is it.
banger after banger. So
Banger after banger.
And so I started learning those, and then eventually when I met more and more local musicians, we just started jamming together. I remember me and Nick used to go to the studio and just jam. We wouldn't even play any songs in particular. We'd just come up with riffs, and it really didn't go to anywhere. So I joined a couple other bands, and we just had a fun time with it, and it was just kind of garage bands. And then later on, I remember they offered me to play guitar in Liar's Cult,
Right.
which was with Nick
Now,
Rodriguez.
was that your first real band?
I had done that. I had done one band before, but it was pretty much a garage band. We
Did
didn't
you
do
guys play
much,
any
but-
gigs?
Yeah,
You did play
Yeah.
some gigs. And what was the band called?
it was called Fake Enemies. It was just like a bunch of buddies that I had met. We just done a couple like punk songs, and it was fun. I had definitely a learning experience in how to publish material and learn the background of the whole music industry, because it's not just music. A lot of
believe me, a
people-
lot.
a lot of fans.
Boy,
and-
that's the trick, isn't it?
oh yeah,
You find that out later because you start out as a musician.
definitely. It's a quick
All you know is you're a
360.
player, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? What? Believe me, after 35 years of this business,
You know.
I could sit here and believe, yes, it goes very much hand in hand.
Yeah, so then we started doing Liar's Cult, and that was great. We were getting on great shows. We had a great run, and then eventually I think everyone just wanted to pursue their other options in life. Everyone has stuff to do, so we ended up breaking up, and then me and Nick did Sudden Loss, and that's when I had sat down with Nick and was like, let's do this. Let's make it work. Let's get to that next level.
But you didn't really
And
go that long, did you,
We
Kevin?
didn't go that long, and it was a good run, and we got
I still have a brand new Sudden Loss t-shirt
I
that I don't want
know.
to wear anymore because it's like,
But within
No
like
good.
2 weeks, we were already getting asked to headline shows in LA. We were getting asked to play out of state, out of country within like 2 weeks of releasing a 3-song demo. So we were hitting it quick, and then other members had to take care of their personal lives once again. And
that's part of it.
That's part of it.
People
You
don't
all have to be on the
understand.
same page.
They wonder why there's always member changes in bands. The dynamic of playing in a band, running a family, doing a job.
yeah. It's a lot of work.
Try it.
So we ended up breaking up, and then at the same time, I told Nick, I was like, I got to do something. I got to do a band, whether it's just me and I go home and record and release it. And he's like, you want to give Hatriot a try? And I talked to him and I go, let's try it. I'll try out. Let me learn some of the songs, and because like you said, the material.
And I have to be brutally honest with you. I was
Yeah.
so skeptical at first. I'm all,
I know.
Kevin? I love Kevin.
But can he keep
But
the
can
chops?
he do it? I mean, I'm all about it. If kid's a smart kid, I like him. But Sakagawa, you know what I mean? Miguel, Colossal wasn't even like those guys, and that's what I think that the band needed. But to be honest with you, because you've done, people will hear the record now and start to see you live. But I've seen you play with the band now, and I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm convinced. You got my seal of approval. So
Yeah, I just locked myself in the studio
That's what
and
you have
just
to do.
hammered down. Like, didn't let anyone bother me. Didn't do anything outside of work. I just got off work, went to the studio, and just practiced and
So
just
now,
learned the material.
how are the songs coming to you, and how is learning what Costa writes coming easier for
Oh,
you?
it's from the beginning until now, just from working together. Pretty much, it's been a whole year now, almost. And for me, I can sit down with Costa, and I know what he's gonna do and kind of how he plays it now, because you get his style. of
That's what a
playing.
guitar duo did. That's what the H team does. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what they did. They knew, that it's yin and yang. This one's going to do this. This one's going to do this.
Oh, definitely.
And that's what's good. I mean, that's when you know you got somebody you can work with. Because I have to be honest, I don't think he ever had that with Justin Sakagawa, and I know he didn't have it with Justin Cole.
Yeah.
I think Miguel was the only other one that he had a really good guitar partnership with. I think he's been the kind of the solo guy out there.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like it's not even if you can play the parts. It's like you have to be able to relate to them as a person. You have to have the similar influences and know where they're coming from. And if they're writing something, I can kind of hear those influences on it, and then they kind of make it their own style. And once you pick up that style, it makes it a lot more fluid to learn. So the stuff that he's thrown new riffs at me that are gonna maybe be used for their next record, and just seeing how he does it and how he writes and us jamming together has been so much more.
It's a learning
fluid from the
experience and a
beginning.
process.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Especially coming in from kind of doing the bands the way you had done them to going into this. It's more. I'm not saying it's pro-established, but it's more pro-established than anything you've done. And if you want to keep that reputation as being a great live band and a band that people look up to as, man, when they come out, they give it to, they just deliver the goods. You got to put all those elements in there.
Yeah, just
and
include
it's a
everything.
challenge. It's a fucking challenge, and you have to do it, especially from a guy. You got to bang and play. And everything's close. It's like everything is your fingers are being moving constantly.
He just goes. It's
and
just
it's
you put a guitar in his hand.
Again, I've talked.
Goes.
We had him on earlier this week, and we talked about that because he's just the real deal.
He is.
Yeah, he has been. He's very. I've said it. I've said it all week long. He's along the lines as Gary Holt, Rick Hunolt, Alex Skolnick, Eric Paterson. Lee Cragen, he's one of those guys that knows that fucking thing. He knows what he does. He knows what he does here. He knows what he does here because it translates right here. So to work with a guy like that must be great. So now you're in.
Now I'm in.
And now you have your first real release coming out. It's a real release. And Kevin is very savvy about, moving the band socially and you've actually
the business behind it, the marketing. I love
there's
that.
There's been nobody since me that would be like, very on that. And I think that the band, even though in the last 5 years since Dawn of the New Centurion, there's been a learning curve for Cody and there's been a learning curve for the band. And I think
definitely.
the musicianship has gotten better. And we've discussed that this week in depth on that. So I would say that this moving forward is probably going to get even more intricate and more intense.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, you guys as musicians are now working very much together as a unit.
Yeah.
I think the mentality is, at least because it was the other three. And there was the other three and the one guy forever. When there was me, it was the four and the other guy. You know what I mean? Now it was now. So I think I don't see... to be honest, I don't see you being out. I see you being, finishing out in Hatriot. This is your band.
Thank you.
Now you've definitely made it, and congratulations.
Thank you. I
on a
appreciate
great
that a lot.
record. And good luck for all. As I'll be watching it over, and I'll be adding my comments, and that nobody will know about. I'll be calling my sons and telling.
You're always watching. I remember that first show I played was. For your 30th year anniversary at Slim's, and all of a sudden I'm playing about halfway through the set, and I just see you, and I just see the eyes from below the stairwell. I'm just, all right, he's watching.
Because I want to make sure that they did the right thing. I'm only looking for the best, and it's nothing personal.
Yeah,
because I'm trying to tell people, I've gone through managers, I've gone through musicians through my career, and I want you to know it's not personal if you didn't work out. It's just I want things a certain way, even in my tribute band in AC/DC.
It's the business.
That has been I've had revolving, basically the guy who plays Angus, Dave Chapman, it's been me and him. Everybody else has changed over and over again because I want a certain thing a certain way. And I think you guys have just, your live show is great. And again, I can't touch much about the album with you because you really didn't have much writing and I know Costa plays, the rhythms and that'll change by the next record, because coming into what you came into, as soon as you came into it, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea to say, hey, let's try to throw Kevin on it for the sake of doing it. People know how records are made. You're part of the band. You're part of the camaraderie. You're there and alive. You are one of the pieces of it. So it's not like you're not,
Yeah, and for this album, most of the ducks were already in a row by the time we were ready to start recording. And when I joined, it was, all right, well, let's get you in, learn the material. And then that next week was we're recording and it's game on. The floodgates have opened. Like it's time
Nick
to
had
push
the
it.
same thing. When Nick joined the band a month later, he was recording Heroes of Origin.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And he had to actually play it. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
So, and he had to play Globicidal, which I don't even think you guys do anymore.
I remember when I first started hanging out with Nick before he even joined Hatriot. When we first started going to the studio together, he used to go, "Hey man, we can't jam today. I have to go and I have to learn the double kicks for Globicidal." All right, next day, gotta learn this part. And it went on for
'cause
like
it's just-
2 weeks, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
you lock yourself in that room and you
Yeah,
go.
you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Well, hey, man, I'm glad you can come in to round out
Round it
the
out.
final day of Hatriot Week on Zetro's Toxic Vault. If by the time this gets aired, you should be at the record stores or buying it by then.
Definitely.
Because this will go up.
It'll be quick.
This goes up 8 o'clock Friday morning Pacific time. So by then, you could go buy stuff. And so that's already up. People are already
Yeah.
buying your record as we're talking.
Pre-orders are out.
You know what I mean?
They're going.
So, go ahead. I want to hear all week long the comments. Keep them coming. I want to hear more and more and more comments on this stuff. And obviously subscribe and share my channel. And this will conclude
Wonderful.
Hatriot Week
Hatriot
on
Week.
Zetro's Toxic Vault. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thanks.
I'm very happy for
Thank you for
guys.
having me.
And so, you guys keep watching the vault because starting tomorrow, I got another great special interview that starts. So we'll see you guys tomorrow in Zetro's Toxic Vault.